So this is Edpuzzle and second language acquisition, or SLA. And Nicole.
Okay. Hi, my name is Nicole Barret. I am a Spanish 1 and 2 teacher, as well as a team leader here in Houston, Texas. I work at Cypress Park High School. And I have been teaching now for 17 years. All 17 of them have been with high school, so 9 through 12.
And I am Maribel Roman. I am an English language development teacher. I have been teaching English as a second language for approximately, well, more than 25 years. First in Puerto Rico, now here in Maryland. I'm actually working at a middle school. It's an academy. It's called Colin Powell Academy in Prince George's County Public Schools in Maryland. So we are from Texas and from Maryland to the world. And this is our table of contents. We are going to talk about practice, how practice makes perfect, live sessions equals engagement, bringing the culture, assess for success, and using Edpuzzle to your advantage. So practice makes perfect. Edpuzzle is a visual support that encompasses the 4 language domains: reading, writing, speaking, and listening. Is an auditory visual modality, which is perfect for engaging students who are learning a second language or acquiring a second language, because that's the way they gather more information. If they can see and they can hear, they can listen, they can participate at the same time and be engaged, there's more learning in that. So students of language acquisition, second language acquisition students need to practice writing, practice listening, practice speaking, and practice reading. Edpuzzle, when you're using Edpuzzles and you select an Edpuzzle, thinking about your students who are learning a second language, students have the opportunity to write the answers to open-ended questions. So you have you have to select, of course, the level appropriate presentation or video, and then with the questions that you want, you can do self-paced, you can do the live participation. But if you want them to practice writing, you can have some of the questions, instead of being multiple choice questions, you can also add open-ended questions. So when you are creating your Edpuzzles, you can embed the autograde, because the multiple choice questions, they autocorrect. So it's easier for us teachers. We have less work in that area. But then when it's an open-ended questions, you can write a suggestion, and then the computer is going to auto-grade. You can also go again and revise everything, but that is an excellent feature for writing and practicing writing with our ESOL or ELD students, or second language acquisition if they're learning Spanish, if they're learning French, if they're learning Mandarin, whatever language they're learning, writing is crucial. Listening, the students can listen to native speakers that model the language they are learning through authentic resources. So it's better because there's the correlation between letter sound and morphemes and phonemes, and not always, like at least in English, we have from 14 to 20 vowel sounds, and then from 20 to 23 or 24 consonant sounds, and those combinations to produce the words are different from other languages. Like in Spanish, you have only 5 vowel sounds, but in English, it's all different, and the same as in other codes in which that we are teaching as well. So that language correspondence is letter sound correspondence is very interesting and important. If we have a person who can model the pronunciation, students will get the pronunciation right from a reliable resource, an authentic resource. In speaking, did you know that students can record the responses to questions in Edpuzzles instead of typing them? Students can read and answer the questions aloud during live mode to practice pronunciation and develop fluency. So they have that opportunity to record their voices. I love when they record their voices because then they are able to listen to what they say, and then they can also correct their spelling or their pronunciations for the word. So it's a good tool for them to practice speaking. You can do this in the self-paced mode so they can use it and go again and review and listen to what they answer. And then we have the reading part using Edpuzzles with closed captions. And if you go, you can find Edpuzzles that have 14 different languages that you can use closed captions for those 14 different languages. It allows students to connect the words they have heard or they hear with a written version, the proper pronunciation with a proper or correct spelling, which is very important. And that in that way, that supports the reading skills. It increases their vocabulary acquisition. They can see, they can listen, they can pronounce, they get engaged in their learning process, and without the fear of making mistakes. And to listening, the four domains, listening, reading, speaking, and writing, let's say we have a content objective, this following content objective. Students will analyze themes of cultural identity, tradition, and personal growth on the story, Pasha's First Yom Kippur. So we are learning second languages. It's a second language acquisition that definitely involves culture and learning about different cultures and learning about different traditions and how those themes embrace or support or takes an individual to a development throughout the story. And this is the example for Pasha's Yom Kippur. Let's listen to this example.
There's a Hebrew name for repentance, tshuva. It means returning, a return to doing things right after straying from God's path. Tshuva involves asking forgiveness from those who are wronged by a person's bad behavior. How would you feel if someone who wronged you said they were sorry and asked for forgiveness?
As you can see, this very short,
There's a Hebrew name for repentance.
Short video has the four skills, and it only lasted 22 seconds. So you can find any video in Edpuzzle, any Edpuzzle. You can clip that video to get just the 22 seconds or the 10 seconds or the 1 minute. You can shorten that video and make sure that you address the skills that you want them to learn, or the words that you want them to learn, or the cultural aspect that you want them to know or learn about. In this case, Pasha's First Yom Kippur is about that tradition, cultural identity, and how this boy develops emotionally and embraces his identity throughout the story with this with his first Yom Kippur. And at the end, you can see it ends with an open-ended question. How would you feel if someone who wronged you said they were sorry and asked for forgiveness? The students have the opportunity to internalize the information and apply it to themselves, to their lives, because at this age, let's say 6th, 7th, 8th grade, they have had situations in which they have been wronged by people, they have been betrayed by people, by their classmates, and you're making them think, and then they have to pronounce the information, they have to utter. If they choose to answer with audio, they will answer the questions and they will practice speaking while they do this. This is, I believe that for open-ended questions, it's better if they do the self-paced work instead of doing the live sessions. And then they can write, they can type in their questions, their answers. So they have listening, speaking, reading, and writing in just 22 seconds of presentation, while they're learning the cultural traditions, identities, and the growth in Pasha's Yom Kippur. The live sessions, that equals engagement. Engagement is core to enhance the learning experience. It's like learning by doing, they're doing, learning by playing, they're playing games. So kids learn by playing, right? So there are endless possibilities. It's to encourage student learning through live competitions, to build background knowledge or introduce a topic or a skill like, what do you know about Yom Kippur? To review or reteach a lesson or skill, to check learners' comprehension, to hold students accountable, you name it, right? So you present it in live mode, you share the link with your students, or you tell them to go to their Canvas or to their LMS, and then they will present and discuss or play a game with it. It depends on the teacher, what the teacher wants to do with the students. So the Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, live mode, and then they're accountable for what they did or they did not. In this case, 2 students completed the task. We have that information here. We know that one did it in May 1st. We know that one did it in February the 24th. And we know that one never attempted to do it. So they are accountable. We can call them and say, hey, look at this. And they can also go to their grading part of their classes and learn what they're doing. And if it's still open for them to complete, they can be able to complete it. Or if it's closed, then they lose the opportunity. And Nicole.
Okay, so one of my favorite parts about Edpuzzle is being able to bring in the culture. Teaching Spanish in Houston, my kids are real familiar with the border between Texas and Mexico, but it's so much more fun if we go to Spain or Argentina or whatever that looks like. So I do that by bringing in videos of different countries. So here, this top one is an Edpuzzle that we did in my class with Puerto Rico. We were studying Puerto Rico, learning about San Juan and what all Puerto Rico had to offer. So we are breaking down those classroom walls, and we're getting actually into Puerto Rico through some travel vlog that somebody did and put on YouTube for me, which I love. And then the bottom one here is La Tomatina in Spain. If you know anything about that, it's a great big tomato fight that happens every year. The kids absolutely loved this one because they actually saw tomatoes flying right by the camera. The neat thing about this is I can actually break it down. Somebody had asked in the chat about using it with small groups. I use it with small groups in my class. I just have these kids log into the Edpuzzle at that time. Everybody, you wait, and then I can adjust for our proficiency wise. I can adjust for how slow you need it to go. Whatever I need to do for that group, I can do that. Edpuzzle makes assessment super, super easy for a teacher or a teacher, whether you're doing Spanish or you're doing English or French or whatever. So gradebook within Edpuzzle. I know we all have our regular gradebook, but the Edpuzzle gradebook gives me immediate feedback. I don't take every Edpuzzle for a grade in my gradebook. So I here and see not only how much time the kid is, but how much they're getting out of it. Sometimes I don't grade all of it. If there's a whole bunch, we'll do better. Sometimes at it and go on. It gives the students the opportunities for redos. If you, no, this is what happens when I'm randomly trying to, okay, we're going to move. So y'all bear with me here. Let's see if I can get some stronger internet. Okay. So when you are assigning Edpuzzles and the kids need better, the kids need more time to work on it, or they need a chance to do it again, you can assign redo opportunities for them. And that is a huge thing for my kids. And I love that so much. And then we're assessing comprehension with all of our videos that are listening. They're figuring out, oh, hey, I know this, I can do this. Or, ooh, I need some more work. So that is fantastic. And then lastly, as teachers, we never have enough time in the day, right? We all know this. If I could multiply myself, it would be fantastic. So Edpuzzle makes your job easier in a lot of ways. We'll start with, if you are able to use Edpuzzle with your learning management system, Canvas, my district uses Schoology, go for it. Because I can, with the way it's all set up in my district, my grades from Edpuzzle go directly into my Schoology gradebook, and then they go directly into my other gradebook. I don't have to do any math. I teach Spanish because I don't do math. Okay, not my thing. But if you do math, there's math videos too, because my husband uses them. So you have the search feature for videos that have already been made. Y'all, there are so many videos out there that are done. Don't recreate the wheel. Take what's there, change it, tweak it to make it fit you. And then you have automatically grading all your multiple choice questions. You can have it automatically grade your written answers. I know Spanish, French teachers, there are issues with accent marks. I've just kind of stopped grading on them. I will type my answers in for auto grade without accent marks because I find that more of my kids don't use them than do. It's probably just my kids. So, all right. And I think that's all we've got.
Wow, you're on point with the timing and everything.
Hey, if Maribel will go back a slide, my contact information's on there.
Mine as well.
So
take a picture if you guys want the slides or anything, because people are asking for them. Like, take a picture and email them, connect with them, because that's the whole point.
I'm gonna put my my X or my Twitter in the chat.
I call it Twitter still.
I do too.
And I say Downtown Disney. I'm like, I refuse.
So it's in the chat there. If y'all, want to follow me, reach out, whatever that might be. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you also.
I apologize for the technical difficulties.
Oh, thank you for being there. I mean, honestly, we were like worrying about, like, we had a hurricane. I'm like, what are we gonna do?
I was fully prepared to sit in the school parking lot to do this. Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, it worked. It worked.
We got it.
Fine. So
Yes,
I think there was some questions. I answered some questions about the LMS, that it transfer the grades. Maribel, what do you use an LMS?
Yes, we use Canvas.
So there was a question about if you can assign lessons, like AKA like lives, to like not individual, but like another set of groups. And I mean, I don't have students, but in my mind, it works. Like if you create a separate Schoology course or a Canvas course with other students there, you can just assign it to that, right? It will work.
You can create your classroom in Edpuzzle and have a classroom in Edpuzzle, but you can also create you have the Canvas or your LMS assigned class. So those students that are assigned to you in your LMS, of course, they have access to whatever you post there on Edpuzzle, but you can also create an extra class if you have that access in your LMS. And then in that class, you can move in the students that you want to have, or you can assign some students want Edpuzzle and some students other Edpuzzle. You get to choose that. Does that make sense? Or you can go to the license. You can, even if you assign the Edpuzzle to them, you can choose also to go back to the assignment and then do the live portion with them.
There's a question about, and I've gotten these, and again, I don't have students. Some advice, this is Google Classroom. None of, you use Classroom, Nicole, right?
Not anymore, no.
Well, but you might know. I've never
Okay.
used Classroom.
I might.
Some advice for Google Classroom: when you post an assignment, and you can edit the point value before you put in the grades from Edpuzzle, if you don't want it to be out of 100.
I
don't
don't know
know.
that one.
Yes.
It's been 5 years. We switched from over to Schoology
Yeah.
during COVID, and I haven't touched Google Classroom since.
What I
I
guess-
will put, okay, I'm going to put an email support at Edpuzzle, and then our customer service, they know all the things.
But also when we do it in, for example, in Canvas, what I do is I assign 10 points, and that the Edpuzzle does all of the math. I don't have to do anything. So it just automatically goes there.
Can you create a class in Canvas? The school does that for you,
Mhm.
right? And on the rostering, all that happens. You just connect your Edpuzzle account to the Canvas or Schoology classes that you have. You connect those classes. So one thing to know is you have to manually connect the lesson to each class in LMS. So like your period 1, your period 2, because the gradebook needs to be connected. Otherwise, it's like, where do I send the grades? Anyways,